Does attrition kick in on these 4 and 5 stars? They go their whole life focusing solely on football. Is it too much at some point and they're over it by college? Greg, take that one. I think there's some, and I think this is a problem with specialization so much in high school sports. And you've obviously had young ones that have gone through it right now, recently. Kids do it nonstop every day forever. They get to college, you've got some freedom, and then you just say screw it and want to be a kid or want to do something different. What do you think about that aspect of the pressure maybe that is put on these young kids?
Well, maybe Don can answer this, but yeah, I was talking earlier about how Butch always harped on the fact that he wanted to recruit kids that were not only star football players, but that were really good basketball players and really good baseball players, because that kind of showed that they had this wide range. I would assume, given the specialization of sports now, that's less likely. It just seems like, especially when we were growing up, and granted, it's decades ago now, but when I wanted to play multiple sports, the coaches were like, "Yeah, sure, whatever, we'll make it work." And there seems to be less of that now. And I can only imagine that that's not necessarily a good thing. But I will say, though, when you talk about kids that are this talented, there may be that random kid who is just a elite athlete and who everything comes easy to him in the high school ranks. That kid, because he kind of blew up and he's a 4-star or 5-star, maybe he's more likely to kind of be done with it when he gets to college and realizes how tough it is. But by and large, I would say that the kids that are really good have really worked hard at it. And you only work hard at things that you're really passionate about. And so I would assume most of these kids, when they come up, they're not dropping out of programs because of their desire, their passion. Maybe it's because of grades, right? Maybe it's because they get injured. Maybe it's because they butt heads with their position coaches and transfer and kind of get lost and all that. I think those are more the reasons why kids maybe don't pan out than it is that they just lose the fire, although that does happen some.
Don, how many guys have you covered that you watched them play and said he doesn't love it? How many coaches have I heard in my lifetime say, do they love football?
Yeah.
When you're covering recruiting, do you see that? Do you see those guys that just don't?
I think you notice the ones who love it more than the ones who don't. You know what I mean? Because, I'm seeing these guys in their element, whether they're at practice. You notice the guys who are I have to wait until after practice is over to interview them, and they decide, hey, I want to do a couple more reps before I end practice, sort of thing. Or, when you arrive to, or when I arrive to a facility early and that player is already there sprinting or whatever it may be. So it's a little bit easier for me personally to kind of notice the guys who love it. On Greg's, what Greg was talking about with just the specialization, I think one of the things is, and having kids who've kind of gone through it, is that it has gotten to the point where if you aren't whatever sport it is, if you aren't working on it year round, you will not excel for most. Now, I'm sure that there are athletic freaks out there who could do whatever with very limited practice. But for an average kid, if you're not practicing year round, you're going to fall behind everybody else. And the time just does not allow for it. I remember talking to, I'm going to forget his name. End up going to Oklahoma from Huff High School, pitcher also, linebacker. But his juggle between football and baseball, he was telling me it's just absolutely nuts, with just all the different sessions and that sort of thing. And he gets no break. So it's almost to the point where you don't have the time to play other sports. Most kids don't have the time to play other sports unless they are an athletic freak. But I could see definitely the burnout kicks in. From personally, my daughter played basketball and she had zero interest in playing beyond high school and was just ready to kind of move on. And so I can see kids wanting to just kind of have their own time. But I feel like at this level, yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot more pressure. I think what probably happens more than anything, though, and I think we saw that with like a Zach Rice, not to pick on him, but where it's so easy in high school because you are double the size of everybody you're playing against. And then once you get to college, everybody is your size and you no longer have that advantage. And if you don't love it, if you're not willing to go the extra mile and to work harder on it, and so that you can compensate for now no longer having that size advantage, that becomes a problem. And that's where I think a lot of busts actually had that, and just the struggle with balance in school can also be, I've seen that be a problem. Also, probably those two things more than burnout, just from my experience, is what I've kind of picked up.
It's the old Sports Illustrated ad that they used to have, and it said it had everybody stretching on the football field. It said, "How's it feel just to be another high school All-American?" I mean, everybody's good, and once you get to college, and definitely when you get to the pros, and it's what separates you between the ears that matters a lot when you get to those ages.